with anybody, he and Lucy Dunn, so I'm sorry. So those two have been passed, and the SB 827 and 828 are pending, and there are a lot of other ones pending that they want to take away local control.
Okay, so, since we're going to be reelected to do it or not, let's give an idea, we'll have to see how our state representatives voted on these.
Sure. Yeah. I think our guys, I know Dana votes, pretty well.
Dana's not state.
Right, but, I think he's got a pretty good record, but Matt's got a pretty good record, I think. I think our guys, but they're just, the problem is we're in a minority position in the Republican Party, so a lot of times, and especially when they've got a super majority there, they don't even need to be friendly to Republicans. They just kind of, say, you vote the way you want, because we're all voting in lockstep, so anyways. So they just had a meeting the other night at the Water District, that they had a ton of grassroots folks come out and speak. Eric Peterson spoke, Ron Sterwood spoke. They're against the deal. The deal, we believe, is a very bad deal for the ratepayer. It guarantees Poseidon profit on the taxpayer's back. Yep. Increases for 35 years now. It was 50 years, it's now 35 years. I joked, I said, oh, I know I'm not going to be maybe dead when the contract's over. But they voted 6-2 to move it forward. So it's going to go to the Coastal Commission. Yeah, the water board's a pretty bad board. Yeah, they're pretty crummy, so. You got me. I had one conversation with them one time. I hope I never talk to them again. They're crazy. Yeah, it was not a good conversation. Sure. I believe so. Yeah, Carrie.
Barbara, Posey, Billy. So for sure, I think Jill opposes it.
Okay.
Eric.
Lynn opposes
Well,
it.
Patrick is for it. Yeah.
Patrick's
So
for it,
they're
Patrick's
up
for it.
for it.
Yeah,
There
so we
are
got
four
four positive votes there.
So it's a done deal. So are we talking about?
No, it's not.
Well, but it is within the city. It's a
Right.
deal within the
Yeah,
city.
we don't have
It
a
has to be
latitude.
on both, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if they just let it rain, instead of getting rid of the storm?
Seeding those clouds, we should be getting up there seeding those clouds, so. Folks, I see Arthur's moving in for the kill now, so I think my time's coming. Any other questions about anything, folks? No, nothing? Good. Turn it on to the next good guy. You're gonna love Arthur. He's a great activist. So, give it back to Ray, and thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
If you're streaming, your
Mike, you
camera
did
should be
a
closer.
fabulous job. We're passing out the collection bag, so. Next we're going to have Arthur Christopher Schapper, and he's an activist, and he's got a presentation for us. So we're looking forward to that. So we're switching computers here. Okay. There we go. All right. Okay, please help me welcome Arthur Christopher Schapper.
All right, how's everybody doing this afternoon? I'm sorry, let's try that again. How's everybody doing this afternoon? You should feel, it should be a lot louder than that. In spite of the fact that we have, socialist communists who have taken over Sacramento, we have quite a bulwark that pretty much is running the other 45 states, and the 5 that are in active resistance are crumbling fast. And I believe, my view is, I don't think we're going to see California turn into Venezuela. enclaves like Huntington Beach, in the Inland Empire, parts of North State where I was 2 months ago, in the Jefferson area, where they are actively moving towards breaking away from the state of California, even though that 3-state solution was taken off the ballot. I think we're going to be safe while we see, deep blue LA County, deep blue San Francisco will just crumble and fall into the sea. It's not going to hurt us, it's going to hurt them. So I think that we have a lot of, we should be really happy about that. I'm also part of a group called Make California Great Again. Joe Wyckoff, she's in charge of that. I think she's in Orange. One of her other offices in Bellflower. So I just love this hat, Make California Great Again. If you want to get one of these, I can help you get in touch with her. I better say that now, I also have other hats that I'm selling if you want to purchase one. I also have banners. So if you want to see me afterwards about that, that's fine. I have given to be a never Trumper. There is no way I was going to sit out and let Crooked Hillary be the next president. I think a lot of us had that mindset. And what changed for me everything was, of all the 17 Republicans and of course all the others, Donald Trump was the only candidate who met with the angel moms and dads who have lost their children to illegal aliens. That's a subject that no other politician will touch. But Donald Trump met with them publicly, promoted them, made them featured speakers at the RNC convention. He got no money, no endorsements, and no media. The media turned away from the RNC convention when Marianne Mendoza, Sabina Durden, and Jamil Shah talked about how they lost their children. We hear all this crying and whining at the border about children and parents being separated. What would they like to say to the moms and dads who are separated forever from their children because our borders aren't secure? So here I am talking about the Ignite the Grassroots. This to me is really telling. This is like my favorite photos. I got a picture with Dana. I love him. I think he's a great guy. And I am very selective because I have been taught, and there's a lot of truth to it, that you really shouldn't make politicians your friends. They're your employees. But Dana's a special exception. There's a couple others, I can't mention them because they might get in trouble. That's how bad it is in Los Angeles County. So you don't want to out too many conservatives who are active, who are also your friends. Ignite the Grassroots. Some of the stuff may not seem to apply, but I think it's worth willing to try to make that effort nonetheless. Yes, I have the power. I love it. I got my little laser. Okay, it's a little, but all right. Introduction. We conservatives need to be visible activists. Okay, I think that Donald Trump has brought a lot of that out of us. George W. Bush didn't really ignite or inspire people. I mean, people were willing to vote for him. He stood up to terrorism. From what I've looked at, I wasn't, alive and cognizant when Reagan was president. I was born in 1980, but it wasn't like I was voting or anything. I don't think there was any kind of enthusiasm and activism or people coming out of their shells, going to the sidewalks and confronting their city councils the way we see now. And I think a lot of it has to do with the momentum that got Donald Trump elected. We in California, we have seen how corrupt, arrogant, and out of touch local, county, and state officials have become. And even if this state was a lost cause, let's not forget Stephen Miller is from California. Let's not forget Andrew Breitbart was from Los Angeles. Where were the buses stopped in 2014? Marietta. I would submit that the Trump movement started here, even if it couldn't win here. The rest of the country has woken up. They don't want to turn into us. And frankly, I'd like us to turn into other states instead, maybe like Wisconsin that actually has no pension liability. Or I like the idea of being like Texas, where we don't pay an income tax. Or I like the idea of Kansas, or, well, almost Oklahoma, or even Arizona, where I could carry a firearm without having to have a permit. You have open carry in Arizona. And I guarantee to all the gun nuts and gun control nuts, don't worry, people aren't shooting each other every day on the sidewalk. I can tell you that crime is way down, even in Phoenix, at any rate. We need to be visible, though. Just because Trump's in the White House, just because Republicans have controlled both branches of government, and even after the primaries here, we see Republicans having a chance to flip a few seats even in the state assembly, our work has only begun. We can't make a difference if the world doesn't see us. Los Alamitos was like a blip on the radar initially. By the way, must correct the record. Before Los Alamitos passed an ordinance opting out of SB 54, Siskiyou County and Tehama County up in North State, they already opted out ahead of time. But nobody cares about those northern counties because as far as Sacramento is concerned, they're not really people. Very offensive, which is all the more why they're trying to break away. Yes?
Arthur, are you open to just a little coaching? You're over-modulating the microphone.
Okay.
Hold it away from your mouth.
Is this better?
That's better.
That's fine. Okay, no problem. So, there we are in Los Alamitos. We had members from LA County as well as here in Orange County. We showed up. Gracie, I think you were there in March. I think you're right there in the picture, in fact. There she is, right there in the middle. We were also connected with, we had, at the next meeting in April, we had people from Arizona come and join us. One of the members of the Patriot Movement, she grew up in Huntington Beach. So she came, she helped us out. It was really important for us to really put the gas on this. I mean, I just told you about, there were 2 previous counties up in North State. Nobody cared. Nobody was paying attention. But Los Al made the fight against Sanctuary State and put it right there on the map. There we go. So right now, just for the sake of time, I'm not going to be going into the videos. Normally, I would have somebody helping me out with those, but I think just going over these issues and answering questions more, if there's any, would be a better use of our time. So I find no matter what, people have contacted me. They want to be able to make a difference just as we were able to. We've gotten the momentum going to stop SB 54, going after one city after another to opt out, going to the counties. I was there in Orange County, I think it was the March 30th meeting earlier this year when the board voted to file a lawsuit and opt out of the sanctuary state law. I worked really hard, and then others I connected with, we started writing letters to every city and every county in the state to get the momentum going. We are now at 14 counties, 50 cities. And my numbers are a little different. We went to San Dimas, the city council chickened out. One of the city council members, though, filed an amicus brief on his own, so I count San Dimas anyway. And Murrieta is getting its act together. So there we are in Huntington Park, that's on the left side. Mission Viejo on the right side. That was quite a turnaround. For 2 years, I've been fighting this illegal immigration issue. I've been in Huntington Park, a city which appointed 2 illegal aliens to city commissions. That is how horrendous, that is how deep the onslaught has become against the sovereignty of the state and this country. The problem is, we're still needing more people to get angry, to get out there, to get active. My goal is getting as many people on board as possible. And that reminds me, I have a clipboard in back. I'm asking you if you want to be on my email list so I can keep you informed about fights against sanctuary state going on in the future. I'll be able to email those to you. I have my clipboard in the back. So, one of the things too, we need to make politicians afraid of us. Besides whether you can see the video or not, that's something that a lot of people, it's astonishing to me. You know, I've talked to people, I mean, not just here in California, but I'm also working with people in Canada now. There's almost this mindset. Somebody sits on an elected board and they make a decision and you're just supposed to go along with it. You know, I'm going to be up in Northern California tomorrow and Wednesday. And there are residents, they tell me through one of the local free speech advocates, well, they're afraid to go to the city council. They're afraid of the retaliation from the elected officials. And I'm going, you've got it backwards. They work for you. You don't work for them. They're supposed to be afraid. You should applaud for that. But I'm finding a lot of people, it's a mindset that they need to adopt. It's not something that is inherent. There's just like this attitude which is developed, which is, well, they made a decision, I just have to go along with it. No, you don't. And they can pass something, and you can fight to change it. We've already seen that here in Orange County. Back to the Board of Supervisors meeting in March, you had parents from Irvine, Laguna Niguel, and Huntington Beach storming the Board of Supervisors when they wanted to put homeless shelters. Not only that, but 2 of the 3 locations were completely inappropriate. So it was a scheme from the beginning to dump everybody in Laguna Niguel. And I believe Laguna Niguel had the biggest outrage. And yes, I'm also aware of the sober living room problem. That comes up a lot. So, of course, we become activists to get our guy elected. It's not enough to vote, it's not enough to put up signs. You go to city council meetings, you go to the county boards to promote your candidates, to promote the issues they are fighting for. This to me is the next step. I remember the Tea Party movement, 2010. I was on the sidewalks, I was waving my flags. Torrance, California is a pretty safe area, even though we have been sandbagged with liberal areas in Beverly Hills and Santa Monica. At one time, my congressman was Henry Waxman. Well, the problem now is I have Ted Lieu, so it's gotten worse. But this is something that Mark brought to my attention, which reminded me about what the next step is for all of us to take. Arthur Schopper is part of the new Tea Party. They go to blue areas and make the case for conservatism, rather than demonstrating on the sidewalk in red areas. We have to start taking the message somewhere else, and I've done it. You can go to my YouTube channel, Chris Schopper. My first one was shut down. Opened up another one, it survived. We've been to Watts, Willowbrook, Cudahy, Huntington Park, Santa Ana. One of the videos that I've uploaded has us stopping a DACA town hall in Santa Ana, where Lou Correa thinks it's okay to undermine federal law and basically preach treason to illegals, how they can skirt immigration laws and avoid ICE. Every time he has a meeting, we show up. And the meeting ends early. And a lot of illegals end up leaving. That works for me. One of our best was at the school meeting in an elementary school in Garden Grove. We showed up, every one of us has a camera, and there are more elected officials there than there are people trying to extend or continue their DACA. That's what it needs to be about now. Okay, we need to be stopping this stuff, not just sitting back and complaining about it. So, I told you about Lion Ted, he's my congressman. A lot of people have this idea, and I hope one of the reasons I do this, it's mostly about changing the mindset. Like I said, remembering that the elected officials work for you, you don't work for them, you don't have to just tolerate them. Some people have this idea, why would I want to go to a town hall with the Democratic congressman? I'm not going to agree with them. There's going to be a bunch of cheerleaders in the audience who are just going to support and promote what they believe. You need to go to them. They are your congressmen, even if they don't agree with your views. I went to one of Henry Waxman's town halls after he was elected. That was also in Hermosa Beach 5 years ago. He was terrified the moment he saw me. I had exposed the stupid lapses of thought. I mean, this guy had like Nancy Pelosi style Alzheimer's. You know, and a lot of these politicians have gotten away with it until YouTube has arrived, until it's easier to upload C-SPAN and the hearings where they attend. So I was onto all of it. I exposed all of it. I hammered him on the veterans issue strongly. He started to pay attention to it, pay lip service to it. Brentwood is in my district. Brentwood's been like loaned out to private interests for decades. And only recently now has the federal government paid attention to ensure that homeless veterans are actually taken care of at a facility that was meant for them in the first place. We're sad to say we still have the largest homeless population in the country. It's in LA County, sadly. So here we are with Lion Ted. You must go to the town halls, whether you agree or not. You go there to make a presence. You go there to make your case, to make your statement, to make it clear that he's not going to have, or she is not going to have an easy time and get a lot of sycophants. And that's the result. Congressmen view a town hall as successful when their views, their words are center place. What they've done, when they get to brag about themselves and be the main attraction. We went to Lion Ted's town hall last April, and we disrupted it from day one. He's not the center of attention, we are. Our outrage with his disregard and disrespect for our president, that got the attention. And you saw in the previous picture, there were others too besides my own. We called about his lies, we shut him down. We don't allow the left and their elected officials to dominate the conversation. There were a lot of people who cursed at me. There were some people who were really mad. Don't go to these alone. I can't stress that enough. Otherwise, you really can't do anything. Or worse, they just throw you out. So, I talked about why. Now we're looking at how. It's, sometimes I worry. I don't want to come into events and treat each of you as if, or to treat individuals as if you've lived in a cave or have no contact with the outside world. So please don't take this as a sentiment of you don't know how to do anything. But I just have found that when people call me, they go, what do? I want to make a difference at my city council, with my elected board. How do I do that? What should I do? So I do outline the baby steps. So please don't take offense if it seems so simple. In a sense, I have to respect for a lot of people, it's a new thing to do. It was for me. It's important to start collecting the contact information for your city council reps. Who are they? Not just that, but the clerk, the attorney, the manager. Sounds like a lot of you have done that already. But that's something that we need people day to day, down the road need to do. People who aren't usually active politically. That's something that they need to start doing. You have a right to call them. You have a right to hear from them. They have a necessity to hear from you. I have the direct phone number for 5 of my city council members, including one of them whom I don't like very much. And I love to share his phone number with everybody I meet. And I say, you need to call him, because he doesn't think we have a coyote problem. We do. 600 pets were killed last year. And yet he says on the city council, along with 2 of his colleagues, oh, well, I've seen the numbers, they've gone down. Wrong. But he's not going to know if you don't say anything. A lot of people don't see this as useful, but it's actually quite effective. You need to be writing emails to your staffers, to the city council, and their staff. In fact, there are cities in the Inland Empire where friends of mine and I, when we have been fighting SB 54, we didn't even know about them. But we had contacts who had been emailing those city councils. Canyon Lake comes to mind, for example. And it gave them enough information where they opted out and they filed an amicus brief without any opponent of SB 54 even attending. So it's very effective. Something else that's, hand-in letters. I told a group in Monterey County, write out your letters and submit them in person. Have hard copies that you give to the city clerk to show that not only do you have a point of view, but there are others in the city who share your point of view. There's power in numbers. The elected officials need to see that. And they're not going to know about it if you're just complaining about it at home or at the bar or even in a Tea Party meeting. This is the part that I've gotten better at. This is a part that is essential. Building lists and the email contacts. And then you are able to build on that to get more people. We've got to get our movements, whether it's in Huntington Beach to stop the density problem. In Torrance, by the way, we actually are ahead of the curve on this. As early as 2006, we saw overdevelopment. And we had a new slate of city council members as early as then throw out a number of incumbents. We have 2 more that we've elected, 2 new city council members, conservative, Republican. They're not union puppets. They campaigned actively against Senate Bill 54. They said, we want to do something. They campaigned on it. I don't know of any city council candidate who has done that recently. But they did, and they won. And they've also further established in our city that we're not going to have this high density stuff. We're not going to be expanding the apartment numbers. We're pretty much going to put up a no vacancy sign. So that's where we are in Torrance. Again, I go to the mindset. Your elected officials have to hear from you, not requests and not pleas, but demands. This is a mindset, again, I find I have to kind of break through to people. I have a contact in Camarillo. We went after that city council to take a stand on SB 54. They had written a letter against the bill. They punted on taking any further action, unfortunately. I said to this man, he had the phone number of one of the city council members. He talked to him, and I had to remind him again, he works for you. You don't work for him. You don't worry about whether you're inconveniencing his life. He needs to pay attention to what you're concerned about. That was a big turnaround for him. They have to have this attitude. You're demanding it. You're not requesting it. You're not hoping for it. You're saying, hey, you have a responsibility. You took an oath. And part of that oath means that if there's a conflict between our federal and state constitutions, the feds win. And right now, the state of California, up in Sacramento, women federated groups. Here in Orange County, they've been very active and effective. In Ventura County, it is incredible. We had one city council meeting, and we had 70 people show up. People I'd never met before. And a good number of whom had told me they'd never been to a city council meeting before. That's a mindset, that's a pattern we're changing. This man right here, Quang, I'm gonna pronounce his name wrong, Quang Guang. I met him in Buena Park. He's from Garden Grove. He recognized me from some of my YouTube videos, and I had my Trump hat on, and he had his. It was something. And I said, we're going to Westminster, okay, because they have on their agenda to opt out of SB 54. I need you to be there. I need you to be there. You're Vietnamese, you're an immigrant, you came here legally, and you're a Trump supporter. So you've got everything I need. We had a lot more who showed up too. He became a featured photo for 2 articles that I wrote. One that was for Town Hall and then another for Barbed Wire. And he also got to speak to the Vietnamese press. We didn't have anybody else who could speak to the Vietnamese press at that meeting, but he could, as an outspoken Trump supporter. And a side note, I gotta talk about this. So, Orange County, you had all the Democrats frothing at the mouth, right? They were gonna flip this county blue. And they had gotten more and more violent from one city council meeting to another. And Aliso Viejo, one of them grabbed my phone. I tried to press charges on him, he tried to press on me, I let it go, and the guy ran off. We had one crazy old lady grab at a friend of mine when she had a megaphone. They're going nuts. Because I think what they've seen, especially after June, whatever their plans were to turn this county blue, pretty much faded away. That's what I saw. I wouldn't worry about what the press says. Dana Rohrabacher maybe 2 points behind his challenger or something. I think that's a lot of spin. It's a lot of desperation to see that whatever anti-Trump momentum they've tried to build, it's just not there. I think especially because we've seen how crazy the Democrats have become. And the national conference, we've seen Democrats embracing these socialist positions, abolish ICE, abolish borders. I was at a demonstration today before I came here. Chris was with me. There's Chris. So he's from Lake Forest. He comes. By the way, he'll take public transit 3 hours from South Orange County to come to LA County. That's how committed he is. So I just want to say, if he can do it, you going to your local city council meeting, you really don't have an excuse not to. So we have hold signs, show large numbers. This is Camarillo. This was great. It was such a shock to me. A lot of people want to do something. They just don't know what steps need to be taken. And the things I had enumerated helped to make that happen. Don't be surprised if you have to go 2 or 3 times before things go your way. Thankfully, with Orange County, the Board of Supervisors, they were ready to go even before we showed up. Mission Viejo announced it. Tustin has been a tougher nut to crack. We have a lady named Darlene Savard. She has grown her coalition following these steps. They finally forced the Tustin City Council to have an agenda item. It'll be in September, but they've got something. For Torrance, also a tougher nut to crack. I do know that I have allies in the City Hall. It's an issue that we'll be able to take on formally in a few months' time. Sometimes it takes time. So, this to me is probably the most important part of what I share with different audiences. Many people, one of the reasons why they don't want to go out there, be vocal and be active, is dealing with the press, how they're going to be perceived, whether in the newspapers or on TV. They don't want to look bad. They don't want to be distorted. They don't want things to be spun against them. And those are very serious concerns. So these are the things that I share with people. This is what you do to avoid, so that you have the upper hand against the press. We need to accept it. It's still a liberal media. They still have Trump derangement syndrome. They're not going to accept it. It's our job to hold them accountable. So when you have an interview with the press, you always record your interactions. You can see this on my YouTube channel, on Gary Galino's Grindel 61. I think that Mike's done it. I know Gracie's done it. You record your interactions, especially with the press. You have every right to record them. They want to talk to you and get your points of view on an issue. You do get to record them, especially because whatever they may print, you've recorded it first, you've made it public first. So that whatever they try to distort, you've got something to fight back with it. You get your story out, not theirs. This was a mind shift for me. Most of us are pretty straight and narrow people. We want to be honest. We tell things like it is. We're not Democrats. We're not liberals. Liberals, leftists, progressives, they have to lie because they're propping up a fraud just to gain power. Just because a reporter asks you a question, you don't have to answer it. Just because a reporter wants to call out somebody on your side, you respond with calling out someone on the other side. One example, in Huntington Beach, I was there in early April. I understand the city attorney was a little worried when I showed up. Then, and I think he was worried about me coming today. I don't know, that's something I heard. Just to let the record show, I don't disrupt, the illegals do. They disrupted this country as soon as they crossed the border illegally. But so someone had shouted out in the audience, "Get circumcised." There was a Jewish rabbi, leftist, open border, hasn't really read his Bible apparently. And I got Roxana Kopitman, she's the major writer for OC Register. She's like, "I've heard all these anti-Semitic comments. I hear all these anti-Semitic comments from the Trump side." I don't allow her to establish that as the narrative. I say, what comments did you hear? What comments did you hear? Well, get circumcised. Okay, well, who said that? How do you know that someone on our side said that? Where's the basis for it? By the way, and I switch, why didn't you make a point about the fact that there were brown supremacists, La Raza activists who told me to go back to Europe? Why don't you write that? Why aren't you writing about when they say deport white people? I actually heard that today outside of the LAPD headquarters when I was protesting for the sheriff, when I was protesting for ICE, that we should allow them to stay in this county, in this state, and to deport violent criminals. Why aren't you writing about that? Again, we tell our story. We don't fit into theirs. Very important. Don't be afraid to ask for the political views and to question their questions. I will never forget the exchange I had with two journalism students from Whittier College. And they came all the way from Whittier down to Torrance. They were willing to sit down and interview me. This was following Attorney General Javier Becerra means trash in Spanish. But I think it's more appropriate. So every time Becerra has a town hall, we show up and we shut it down. This man's a criminal. This man defends illegals and not Americans. This man has sued the Trump administration 38 times because it's political posturing. While we have homeless on our streets, veterans that aren't cared for, high density that's coming out our nostrils, while we have cronyism and corruption from the top to the bottom. I just read in LA County, a DA was sexually harassing a client, and the DA will prosecute. Very disturbing. Where's Becerra? Why isn't he going after that? So at any rate, Whittier College, they come down, they talk to me, and so I asked them very plainly, so who did you vote for? I'm gonna ask them that. I wanna know, because it's going to color what they report. And they said to me honestly, oh, we voted for Hillary Clinton. Why? So I don't shame them, I don't demean them, although there's plenty of reason to do so. Why did you vote for her? Now their answer was, well, we see President Trump as a threat to the press, to free speech, to journalism. And I go, well, where's the proof for this? See, I question them now. I'm interviewing them. And honestly, that's what it will come to much of the time. They want to tell a story, you get to tell yours. So one thing led to another. They said, well, he's declared war on the media. And I said, where did he write that? I forced him, get out your phone, show me. Where did the president declare that war on the press, war on the media? So he selected an article from the New York Times, okay, so I know where we're going here, draws from one of the president's tweets, and he says, the fake news media is the greatest threat to our country. I go, yeah, it is. When we have a press that's lying to us, when we have a press that is ignoring certain issues and highlighting others, when we have a press that has one set of standards for the left and another standard for the right, that's a real problem. And those two journalists, they looked at me and they were shocked. They thought they were dealing with a rube who couldn't count to 10. And I turned the tables on them. And you'll be able to do the same. To say the least, they didn't print anything. But I got a video of it. I recorded it. And that was a video that got about 3,000 views. And as for what happened in Orange County, Roxana Kopitman, I called a friend of mine, her name is Robin Vidston, she's the head of We the People Rising. How many of you get her emails, We the People Rising? Okay, there should be more of you getting emails. So again, sign up on my list, I can get you in touch with her. So I called her first and I said, Roxana wants to talk to me about us, and we go to Orange County, we go to these different cities supporting opt-out of SB 54. And so, Robin says, she wants to create a narrative where this whole movement in Orange County is a bunch of outsiders. That we're coming in, these LA County people are the ones who are getting these Orange County people to do this. Which, I mean, just listening to it is pretty insulting. Orange County people are waking up. Orange County have been awake. You guys have been the resistance to the resistance for a long time. So I had that coming in, I knew what she was trying to do, and I was ready for, she wanted to play the hate group card, she wanted to go to previous articles that were written about me. I knew about it before she asked it, and I was prepared to answer that. I might be going ahead of myself a little bit. Anyway, that'll probably be the next slide, so let me hold off on that. Again, you're responsible for you, not others. Well, someone said this at a meeting. I didn't say that, so why are you asking me? Don't let them make you accountable for something else that someone else may have said. That's something the press loves to do to our side. And we're allowed to be adversarial. You'll notice how I punch back. I put those journalism students to the test who talk to me. I don't just sit there and let them run the show. Okay? They need you for a story. You don't need them. Okay, dealing with the press. Make sure you get them to see what you want them to see. So there are photographers that show up at these events. You know, they want to take photos that will make the Trump supporters look bad, to make the conservatives look evil, bad, mad, and nasty. But I remember this was outside of Mimi Walter's office in Irvine. And I actually said to the reporter, take a picture of this shirt. On that shirt is a picture of Reuben Morphine, a true American dreamer, executed by an illegal alien. Again, these are the dreamers that matter. Those are the families that are separated that I care about. I know the mother, Angie. She lives up in Monterey County. But they do it. So that helps. You can take control of what is published in the newspaper. So that guy in the gray shirt was yelling at me. He was saying that Trump is a Nazi and Trump is Hitler. We've heard this nonsense. And I simply asked him, would a Nazi recognize Jerusalem as the official capital of Israel? And he absolutely lost it. But this isn't the worst of it. Okay, I'll go to another picture, you see what I'm talking about. You are the public eye. Okay, so this is where we do have to be careful on our side. You are the public eye. Be guided by some basic principles. Avoid profanity. Yeah, I break this rule. Sometimes. I think most of you would probably do a better job than I do. Keep your hands to yourself. Yes, I have to talk about this. There was a great video that went viral. We the People Rising. They confronted Congressman Steve Knight in Simi Valley because he had voted to continue funding the government after President Obama issued the executive order for deferred action for parents of arrivals. Blatant anti-constitutional action. And they confronted Steve Knight, and Mike, he touched Steve Knight, and then Steve said, if you touch me again, I'll drop your ass. That's a video that went viral. It hurt. The congressman had to apologize. But that kind of interaction kind of blunted what the group was there for. Hey, we have illegal aliens that are now getting a free pass to stay. They can get government documents. And you funded the government to allow them to do that. That was gone. Everything was focused on Steve Knight's interaction. Keep your hands to yourself. As I said before, go to events with others, do not go alone. And it is getting crazy. I mean, I just told you, I went to Aliso Viejo, somebody grabbed my phone. I have, in LA, people try to, lots of people love to grab my phone. They don't like being recorded. I was in El Monte and somebody kicked my phone away, but a lot of people kicked in. I was able to get another phone. But don't go alone. Rehearse your talking points or appoint someone else to do the talking. This, again, connects with the press. If you're not comfortable, if you're not prepared to talk about, this is why I'm opposed to illegal immigration, or this is what's going on with the high density issue, or this is why I think the city attorney was right to stop that initiative to have a gun control provision in Huntington Beach, whatever it is. If you're not ready to talk about it, make sure you have someone in your group who is. So like Mike might be, if he's there with you at one of those Huntington Beach meetings, and while you're there to stop high density, he's got a lot of the information about it. You have people talk to him. It's okay to do that. You don't have to answer the press. You don't have to speak on every issue. Oh, this is my favorite. Yes, this is what I wanted to talk about. If you do it right, you look good, and the opposition looks bad. Outside of Mimi Walter's office again, sometimes it bothers me. I don't like it when I read the press and I'm the disruptor, I'm called the violent one. And of course, we've been hit with other smears like white supremacist or Nazi or other perverse smears. But here, doing it right, following the steps that were followed, that crazy lady tried to grab my phone. Not only did 2 police officers have to pull her away, the OC Register got a nice photo of it. Who looks like the crazy? Who looks like the kook? Who looks like the bigot, the Nazi, the hate monger? They do. Guess what? They are. We know that. Progressivism is Nazism. Socialism is force, corruption, hatred. She was in tears. She tried to call for comfort. I've been to Mimi Walter's office a few more times. She never showed up again. That's the other thing too. You do it right, you make them look bad, they stop coming, and we keep coming. So, what do you want to do, Huntington Beach? I'm glad someone mentioned the charter city status you have. There's a lot of power there. This is a distinction I wasn't even paying attention to until this SB 54 issue came to the forefront. Because as a charter city, that was the basis for your city filing its own lawsuit against the state of California. And I tell you, what I understand, the lawsuit's already been fast-tracked, and I think that Huntington Beach has a very good chance of winning that lawsuit. State of California, yes. You have a really good chance there because you have that home rule issue that comes with your charter city status. Now there's good news with this. Okay, so first of all, you opt out of SB 54. We're not going to comply with this. You're interrupting our right to public safety, to provide safety for ourselves. You can also use this to reinstate your zoning. So when Sacramento wants to pass something that says, no, it may say R1, but you can put a couple granny flats in the back now because we passed a law. Go, no you can't, charter rule. Your density issues will go away because the state will have no recourse. Now I was up in North State, but I don't mind bringing up this idea to you too. Think outside the box. How about a constitutional carry ordinance for Huntington Beach? Why not? There's 200,000 people here. Crime is rising, and when seconds count, the police are minutes away. It's not their fault. There's only so many of them. Why not a constitutional carry ordinance for Huntington Beach? They're already trying to tell you that you have to protect illegal criminals, not citizens, and that's going to probably be shot down. They're trying to undermine your zoning, which your planning commission, which your city council established. And then some gun control freak wanted to pass an initiative in the city, right? To ban assault weapons. Does that also mean clubs and bats? Doesn't sound like they were very clear. Why not go the other way? Hey, you can carry. And there's this thing called the Second Amendment. And your city council members all took an oath, right? That was the argument why lots of us showed up in early April. You took an oath to uphold and defend the United States Constitution. So the state can't interrupt federal immigration law. Wait a minute. If that's true, and then they can't undo your zoning provisions, then they really can't take away your right to protect yourself either, can they? Talk to your police chief about it. I'm not the only one talking about this. Siskiyou County, they have a pathway forward. They're going to have a constitutional carry ordinance in Siskiyou County. Yes?
I'm sorry, but I have to disagree with you.
You know what? That's fine.
And I'm going to tell you exactly why.
You know what? I'm sorry, but I'm going to finish first. Because...
Let me finish.
No, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. I have the microphone. And you know what? I'm going to finish. Thank you.
But I have the right to be heard.
Okay, so do
And
I.
I'm
Thank
going to
you.
tell you.
Go ahead.
that because-
You know what? No, you don't. You know what? I'm going to practice what I practice in my city council meetings. I'm sorry. You're being He's gotten set off. Wow, I'm not even a city council meeting and people starting stuff. Do you know anything? I'm sorry. You need to sit down. No. Bye. Sit down. Sit down. Everybody, sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Are you getting all this? Sit down. Thank you. You don't have to put up with this. Look what I have to, I can't even go to and say, thank you. Have a seat. Rude. See what I have to put up with? And I'll tell you what, I get him from the right as well as from the left. Okay, everybody wave, bye. Anyway, I've had people roast me alive because I support the state of Israel. Isn't that crazy? That's how nutty it's gotten on the quote-unquote right. I've had people go after me because I say illegal and undocumented. I had that discussion today. But it's okay. We stand our ground. Hey, if I can do it, everyone else can do it. Thank you. Okay, secret exemptions. I talked about that. Reestablish your zoning rights. Tax relief. There's so many opportunities here when the city of Huntington Beach reestablish its home rule. I put secession up there just to see how you react to it, but I don't know if Huntington Beach could operate as its own state. This is more like for the 23 counties, but I see the way that the city of Huntington Beach operates, and, well, let's just say you guys certainly run your business better than Sacramento runs the state. So let's just say that. Okay, so questions and comments. Let me go back over the stuff I talked about. So there's my email. Take a picture. Feel free to email me. I'm on social media. I have my YouTube channel back of sorts. I do ask for people's financial support. I have a PayPal. I'm honest with you. I'm able to do what I can, but it's financial support that's helped me to keep doing it and doing it well. I have a PayPal account. I'm also selling stuff. If you want to buy something, if you want to buy a hat, if you want to buy a banner, whatever, or if nothing at all, it's okay. I'm just glad to be here. Really appreciate you allowing me to be here. Sorry I couldn't show you the videos. You know, just to give and take, you guys have been really patient. And this is your chance. You ask the questions and I'll listen. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay. We have a raffle going, so could you bring up the tickets? We have a raffle where we give away half of the proceeds to the winner of the raffle. And then we're going to have Catherine Gutierrez as the speaker, so don't go away yet. Okay.
And I took him down.
It's,
That's good.
754-750.
Still streaming? Close-up videos coming soon.
Our next speaker
tuned.
is
Look for the
Catherine
upload.
Gutierrez. She is with the Election Integrity of California